What is up, everyone? I am Jared Winkler, and I am 5 months smoke-free. I feel phenomenal. I'm probably in the best shape I've been in a long time, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I quit smoking, so I felt like I could take better care of myself. So some of you may or may not know, I've quit publicly on YouTube a couple of times before this quit. And I've gotten the question on a few different occasions, and once really recently, why I relapsed. In those past quits, what made me quit? So I figured I'd try to address that here. So first off, if I look back at that 3-year quit, what made me lose that quit? Well, I was in a really stressful situation in my life. I was dating a girl that was making things a lot more difficult. I was at a party with her ex-boyfriend who I was trying to talk to. He wouldn't talk to me, so I was like, well, I can have a cigarette with him and maybe he'll listen to me while we're each having a cigarette. She was a smoker, so I was bumming cigarettes off of her after that, and eventually I became a smoker again. So what was the reason behind all of that? Well, when it comes down, it's all BS. It really doesn't matter what the excuse is. The only thing that happened is, as Joel says, I had given up my personal commitment to never take another puff. And people ask that what made you quit because they're curious and maybe they don't want to run into the same obstacles that you've run into, so they don't lose their quits as well. But when it comes down, those things really don't matter. They're excuses that we assign to the fact that we just didn't take responsibility, we didn't keep our resolve up, and we gave up our quit of our own volition too. I mean, it really is about taking responsibility. I'll tell you, for every quit that I've lost, I started having the debate in my mind of, am I really never gonna smoke again? I mean, there's gotta be certain situations that I can smoke in, maybe at my own bachelor party or this or at that. And sometimes these debates with yourself are more generic things like, well, maybe I bet I could be like the weekend smoker or the social smoker or the only smoke when I drink person. Or they could get very specific. It could be, I'm going to be hanging out with so-and-so. This is a friend of mine that I'm used to smoking with. I don't know if I'm not going to be able to smoke. Maybe I'm going to have to when I'm hanging out with this person, and then I'll quit again or whatever. But these are little deals that we start making with ourselves, and these are where our resolve is kind of thinning out. And this is the point at which, when our resolve has completely run its course and we haven't kept the strength of that resolve, these are the points at which we get to pick one of those excuses as being the reason why we gave up our quit, when really it is we just didn't stick to that personal commitment. We didn't prepare ourselves, or there's just something, but we didn't do the one thing that we had to do, and that is not smoke. When it comes to that personal commitment, there's no asterisk. There's no, I'm never gonna smoke again unless I'm with this particular person, or unless I get like really stressed out. Or, God, I even remember I lost a quit once because I was a few days in, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine, and we got in an argument, and I got really upset. And when I left his place afterwards, I was like, man, he knew I was quitting smoking. How could he argue with me like that? Like, he just ruined it. There's no way I can get through this feeling without going and buying a pack and ruining everything right there. It's like, all we do is assign excuses once that desire to smoke has overcome the desire to quit. So I guess what's important is just remembering that it's a drug addiction and that it's with us forever, and that we have to keep our resolve strong and have to know that the addiction is going to try to weasel its way in. That's one of the things that I think is really important about losing a 3-year quit, is realizing that resolve can take you so far, but if you don't keep it strong and you kind of lose track of how difficult it was, you can wind up right back in it. And I won't let that happen to myself again. And I feel like with everyone, the addiction will kind of try to poke its head in and try to prod and try to get you to think about it until it gets you there. Even for myself, I think I've had a pretty easy quit, but I feel like it has taken a lot from me. I mean, I'm proud of myself for making it this far. But even, in the past week, there are times where I've thought about cigarettes and thought about how I enjoyed my time with them or this or that. And I realized that is simply the addiction kind of trying to weasel its way back in there, trying to get me to make that mistake again, fall into the trap again. And that's something I absolutely won't ever do. So, in any case, I guess the point of this is, no matter what anybody says is the reason that they failed to quit smoking, it's all unimportant. They are simply excuses that we pin to essentially what is a loss of resolve. We just didn't stick to the one thing that we had to do, and that's not smoke. And it's simple. It's just a simple task, and it gets easier and easier with time. So for those of you starting out, I like to equate the beginning of a quit with voluntarily deciding you're going to have the flu. You're going to not feel like yourself for a while. You aren't going to feel comfortable. You're not going to feel like yourself. It's going to have to run its course. And unfortunately with the flu, you get to feel better, after a couple weeks tops. With an addiction, it could take even longer to get back to kind of feeling normal, and you don't get to just say goodbye to it. It's something that's kind of with you, and you have to remember it. And that's kind of what this video series has been about for me. It's kind of, remembering how important this was and keeping my resolve up and reminding myself this is something that was difficult in the beginning. It's something that I've earned. It's something that I only get to keep if I keep my resolve up and I say no if any of those strange desires come along. And under no circumstance can I allow myself to place an excuse into it. It doesn't matter how stressed out you get. It doesn't matter who you're hanging out with. It doesn't matter if you've drank. It doesn't matter. None of these things matter. You still have to abide by the rule. You still just can't smoke. The moment you do, you've broken it and you've started the cycle again. So, in any case, I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that if you have begun your quit, that you're doing amazingly, and if you're considering quitting, that you please do it. You absolutely can make it. You can totally make it through. You can become a non-smoker. Believe me, if I can do it, anybody can. It's all in our power. It's just a matter of actually doing it, trying. So yeah, I hope you all are well. I will see you next time. Take care and peace out, homies.